hallowed world of the Gibson Les Paul, the Supreme has always been a bit of a lost child. In stark comparison, its siblings have developed quite a reputation for themselves. There is, of course, the Gibson Les Paul Standard, the guitar that needs little introduction, the guitar that is the benchmark even today by which most other guitars are compared. There is also the Gibson Les Paul Custom, starting off with the 3-humbucker Black Beauty in the 50s and taken to new heights with the likes of Randy Rhoads. And even the cheaper Les Paul, the Les Paul Studio, has made its own reputation in the hands of studio players and the like. So what is it about the Gibson Les Paul Supreme that makes it not only relatively unknown, but also, as you will find out, a rather confused guitar? Hi everyone, I'm Utkarsh, and this is my own Gibson Les Paul Custom. Sorry, not custom. I don't wish it was a custom. I really like this guitar. This is my own Supreme. This is the 2014 model. 2015. A much needed cut, as my brain appears to be a little addled. This isn't a 2014. This is a 2013. In mint condition, brand new, that I got about 3 weeks ago. It was just sitting at the guitar store, one of those forgotten guitars, and I'm so glad it was. Before I tell you more about it, let's hear how it sounds. Now I don't know if it comes through in the video, but this guitar has a very interesting tone. It's driven by a combination of two factors. Firstly, the pickups are quite hot. It's not like the low output PAFs that you get in some Les Pauls, like the traditional, the other guitar that I have. This is the same pickup combination as the custom, which is the 490R at the neck and the 498T at the bridge. So relatively hot pickups. So that you expect to give you a slightly sharper, a slightly more trebly edge. But in contrast, you have this semi-hollow body. Now, I must point out it's not that light. This guitar is actually quite heavy. Not as heavy as my traditional, which is super heavy, but it's no 335, it's quite heavy. But it has a chambered body inside. So it has a bit of that semi-hollow, which kind of smoothens out and roundens down your top end, so it ends up sounding just the right combination. You get a smooth yet a focused sound, so I really like that. So that's about the sound. Let me tell you a little bit more about the build of this guitar. So as you must have seen, the thing that strikes immediately is the top. So this is not a double A, not a triple A, but in fact a quadruple A maple top. This particular color is called Translucent Ebony. Very, very nice. In fact, the color was what drew me to this guitar. And the thing that separates the Supreme from the standard or the other Les Pauls is that not only does it have a maple cap on the top, like the standard or the traditional, or even the deluxe, it also has a maple back. So that's different from your typical Les Paul. and even the back is a AAA, so that kind of tells you about the kind of material that's gone into this guitar. The other thing that you should know is that Supreme is much thicker than a standard or a traditional. It's kind of like, because it's semi-hollow, it's got a bit of space, and in fact the back is also arched. So while most Les Pauls are arch tops, with the exception of the Studio, of course, which is flatter, this has an arch top as well as an arch back. What else? So the other thing that the Supreme is known for is having that very elaborate mother of pearl inlay calling out Supreme. I don't really know what it's supposed to represent, but it looks nice. And of course it has gold hardware all around, so that's pretty nice. The fretboard. Now the fretboard on this guitar is a Richlite. For the longest time I stayed off Richlite fretboards. I had this impression, it's fake, right? It's not ebony, it's fake ebony. I had serious doubts on the second-hand value. All the Gibsons that I bought either had rosewood or ebony fretboards, and I had pretty much decided that I won't get a Gibson without an ebony fretboard. Hence this never came under my consideration set. But after having played this guitar, so I will say two things. First thing is that, and this might be controversial, but in my opinion, having I think 5 other guitars that have ebony fretboards, I will say this: Richlite is better. It is smoother. Can you tell the difference in terms of how it looks? I think you can. Ebony looks a lot more natural. This is very consistent, which is almost a bit unnatural. Maybe I already knew it was Richlite, but I can tell. I don't know, maybe it's psychological, but I feel that I can tell that it's Richlite. Would I recommend getting a Richlite fretboard? Yes, I would, for the guitar that you intend to play, because I feel there's nothing more playable than a Richlite fretboard. If you really like bending and making all those sounds, this guitar is perfect for that. So get a Richlite fretboard for the guitar you intend to play. If you are a guitar collector and you have multiple guitars in your collection, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it from second-hand value. I have a feeling maybe 10, 20, 30 years down the road, the old guitars that had ebony will probably be worth a lot more, because ebony is scarce as it is. But as a player's guitar, I can't recommend Richlite highly enough, and I intend to use this guitar as my number one. I've been struggling to find a new number one actually, so I've been through a number of guitars. My number one for 13 years was, believe it or not, an Epiphone Les Paul. I still have it, still my first guitar. And after that, for the last 3-4 years, I've been through a journey. I got a Gibson Les Paul, the traditional. I got an Explorer. I got several guitars. But for me, nothing kind of connected like this guitar. I guess having played a Les Paul for 13 years, I'm kind of stuck to the shape. This feels natural, and this guitar was everything that I wanted. The look, the feel of a Les Paul, yet so playable, so playable. I can't say enough. This is by far the most playable guitar that I've had. Yeah, so let's check out some more sounds. So you heard the clean tones earlier. What I'll do now is give you a bit of, not a funky rhythm, but a bit of rhythm with a bit of muting, and play a bit of a lead, distorted lead on top of that. So I mentioned earlier that the Supreme was a bit like a lost child. And why is that? Why is it that the standard and the custom and the studio are a lot more famous than this guitar? In my opinion, it's a lot to do with consistent identity. Say what you may, but the standard, the custom, and the studio have been this pretty much the same configuration, ever since they were launched. Yeah, the materials have been updated, but the essential concept has remained the same. For example, with the standard, you always had the two humbuckers, you always had the kind of burst maple top. Um, with the with the custom, you always had that, that ebony, now replaced by rich light fretboard, the high output pickups. Yeah, the fretless wonder, the frets became bigger, but the aesthetic of the guitar stayed the same. For this guitar, one reason I think why it's a bit confused and people don't really know about it is because Gibson has been changing what this guitar is many times. So as I mentioned, my particular guitar has two humbuckers. There is a 3 humbucker version of the Supreme that you will see. I think it was maybe 2011, 2012. And if you see the latest Supreme, I think the 15, 16s, I don't know if the 17 is out yet, that is remarkably changed. So it has F-holes for one. It doesn't even have two humbuckers. It has a humbucker and it has a mini humbucker. And so this doesn't really help, because when the guitar identity keeps changing, you don't really know what it stands for. In my opinion, the latest appointment of Supreme probably differentiates it better from the standard and the custom. There's something different it stands for with the mini pickup. But for me, I don't want a mini pickup. I want a full fat pickup at the neck position. I like that Les Paul neck pickup sound. So for me, this Supreme is probably the best combination there could be. I have the standard pickups in the way I want them. I have the rich light fretboard, and I have this amazing top, yet I don't want the F-holes. I don't want my guitar to have F-holes, probably because I like to play a lot of metal as well. Doesn't fit with the aesthetic, I think. But yet I like that semi-hollow sound. I've tried a few semi-hollow guitars. I have a Casino, which got that tone, and even surprisingly, another guitar that has an almost semi-hollow tone is the reverse flying V. I'll cover that some other time. But that, that smooth, round, soft top end, I like that. Yet the problem is that can get very flubbery. The pickups in this and probably the rich light fretboard help the sound remain focused. So since I mentioned I like metal, let's see how this guitar plays metal. Does a pretty good job, despite being semi-hollow. What else is good about this guitar? I really like the premium packaging, so to speak. It comes in. It has the hard case with the that nice cover. Of course, the quality of materials is top notch. Like, everything is so high quality. Even when I compare it to my traditional, and I'm going to show you both of them together. You can see the difference. You can see the difference in just, of course, the quality of the wood is something else, but you can tell that this is a much higher grade of guitar. So is this the right Les Paul for you? It depends. If you are a traditionalist, you can get this in a more typical burst. You can get this in almost like a heritage cherry burst. So it's not bad. It looks a lot more traditional then. But I think if you're a traditionalist, the pickups will probably be a bit too hot for you, so I wouldn't recommend it. By the way, the other thing you need to know, this guitar doesn't have that cavity in the back that most Les Pauls do. So if you want to change the pickups on this guitar, it is going to be a pain. So, if you don't like the hot pickups, I wouldn't recommend you get this guitar. So who is this guitar for? I think this guitar honestly and again, I'm very biased because as you can see, I really like this guitar, is really for someone like me. And who am I? I do like, I mean, of course, I'm a Les Paul loyalist. I do like playing older music. I like bands, you know, from the 60s and the 70s, bands like Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd. But I do also like metal. And as much as I like the look of the Les Paul, I feel that the standard, you know, Sunburst or Honeyburst or that kind of look has been, you know, it's everybody owns it. It's not me. It's not something that I can call my own. And nor does it entirely fit with, you know, with the heavier kind of music that I want to play. Not to say that metal players don't use Les Pauls. They do. In fact, they use Les Paul customs. So for me, this is a happy blend between the traditional and the modern. And yeah, hence I would say that this Les Paul Supreme, the 2013 Les Paul Supreme, is quite a unique guitar, a good find. And if, like me, your music taste extends from classic rock to heavy metal, even black metal, it's perfect, right? The right color for black metal. But yeah, if you have that range, I think this guitar does it well. All right, till next time.